Turns out we have a guest for this portion. Might be slightly out of frame, but she really can't help herself. Alright, so we're going to move on to the patina portion of the tutorial. This is a really exciting moment. I'm going to get this out of the way before I start working. But my inspiration for this patina is like antique silver. This is an old dance card book. But you can basically see like tarnished silver, like the darkness settles around any raised area and then kind of has like a little bit of a sprinkling throughout. So you get a much more authentic patina if you follow sort of nature's rules. So I'm going to set that aside, make sure nothing happens to it. And then just because I just used the rubber cement, I'm going to give these a clean again. Like I said, normally I would cement after I did all of my painting. Say goodbye to Tchotchke. But in this scenario, I just want to make sure none of that cement gets there. Ideally also you want the cement to cure for 24 hours, but I wanted to do these tutorials back to back, so it's fine, it's just not ideal. Just getting any last residual cement off of there. Just make sure the surface is fully ready. A little bit of dye on here, which again is fine, it'll come right off, it just takes a little bit of elbow grease. And it'll definitely lift when we explicitly clean the white part of the sole. Alright, I think we're ready. So for this portion, you could have your base color out if you're worried about making mistakes. I'm just going to have my patina color out. Usually you can do multiple color patinas. Sometimes they look really nice, especially in like a brown. I'm just going to do a one color because I just want to show you how simple it can be. But if I need to lift it, rather than just like slapping more paint on it, I'm going to use my Renovateur. You can use any leather cleaner. You could also use this. I probably will use this. You could even use a little bit of water or a dry rag. So to get started, I'm going to be using a painting technique that I learned in high school called scumbling. And scumbling is a blending technique. Oop, I forgot to shake it again. That uses a circular motion, and it can actually often be performed with your fingers. So I like to use just the medium brush. Sometimes I bring in the small one if I want to do like around the lace openings, but I always do within the cap, get it like decently moist. And then here's how you proceed. It's going to be probably easiest for you to see on the toe cap. Again, if you get acrylic on here, it's okay. It'll come right off. The cement is a little harder to get off, as you could see, but you can still do it. So you want your darkest areas to be at the edges. And again, you could tape this off. I really feel like that gives you a false sense of security. I've done that before and then had like a real time trying to get the paint off. So you lay this darkest layer at the edges as if it was kind of like, as if it was accumulated dirt, like kind of on how you can see on the silver. Then while it's like not completely dry, you really don't want to let it dry, you're going to start blending with a circular side to side, but like also circular motion. And it should be dry, because if it's dry, then you're not just turning the shoe black, you're blending it in. And this is already a little bit strong, so I might lift some of it. So use it back and forth. Not crazy circles, because then it'll end up looking like clouds, but you have a little bit of a circle in there. As we get to the lighter spots, got a little bit on the edge there. I'm just gonna lift that quickly. Try not to smear it everywhere. I'll be able to lift that later. You kind of dry brush into your areas. You can start using some fingers. And you really actually do want to touch the whole thing, because a patina is not just on the edges unless you've polished it off, which you might like that look. And again, I'm giving you like the rules of patina, but you can do whatever the heck you want. This is just like, I've even called it like a paradoxical patina. Like in real life, you might never get a patina that looks like that. So see, I've kind of just like dry brushed in the middle. This is a little bit dark, so I'm gonna lift some of it really gently. Just because I was talking while I was patinaing, which I'm not. See how it like lifts like right off? You can even actually use that effect. I don't, personally I like more control, but you can totally use it. But see, like it's so easy to undo your work and, you know, try again. But each successive layer is going to add like more depth and interest to your patina anyway. So it's a valid strategy to do. All right, let's redo that a little bit more intentionally. You really want as little of the darkest area as you can manage, because I think that just looks more authentic. Yeah, so around this toe area I do tend to use more straight strokes, but as I get to the body, like you can already see I'm starting to get a little rounder, just to like have a nice natural blend. Here's where you can also see like we covered up that scuff there and now it's pretty invisible. Like I said, the patina is such a nice way of future-proofing your shoes. So I haven't needed to use my fingers yet. And so when you go back to your paint, you want to go back to the dark areas, not the center areas. Yeah, see, I like that much better. It's much more like uniform and natural than before, where it was a little too dark. But it was good, because then I could show you how easy it is to lift your mistakes. And there's a little bit on the rubber, but we're going to let it dry before I try to lift more of it. So you can already see it's a huge difference. Alright, so for here, so I like to think of it just like this, how the areas at the top that get touched and are easier to wipe down really, or stay silver. So I'm going to use, this is going to be the lightest part, and then the rest of it is going to get the bulk of the patina work. So again, minimal amount of paint. Lay the dark areas really thinly. You don't want like a huge dark area. You want most of it to be blended. And then slowly blend out. I'm not going to do this whole panel outlined yet because I don't want that paint to dry. And the texture really makes it cool because it makes it a lot easier. So here we go. Here, this is a classic Scumbling Gesture, which is a more round gesture. The leather on the front of the toe is a lot smoother, so I would adapt accordingly and do like a smoother stroke. But here you really, it looks a lot better if you do the more naturalistic Scumbling round stroke. And I sort of slowly move out. just so the paint doesn't dry. It's sort of like a very advanced, nuanced ombre effect that was so popular, oh god, like 10 years ago at this point. But this is more natural. And even if you're not like, you haven't been like painting for years, you can get a really good result. And I was driven to learn this because so many men's shoes will come like this, like especially this. So like I got into this sneaker brand because they do patinas on their men's shoes, and I was like, those are so cool, I want them. And they just don't make them for women. So I was like, well, clearly I have to fix that. And now I make my own, and I'm happy with them. And it's nice because I know how to fix it if I scratch the shoe again. But again, the patina makes it so future-proof. So here we go, kind of like gently brushing the middle. Trying to uniformly lay this dark exterior line. I have a bad tendency to lift my work that I forget is not necessarily conducive to video, but that's just because I like to check for, especially for a metallic shoe, I like to check the reflections. You can decide what you want to do with this upper rim. Sometimes I paint it, sometimes I don't. And I like to have like a fully blended area on the part of the shoe that is facing the world. I just think it's more interesting. And then you kind of, if you can do them right one after the other, it's useful, but you don't have to. Just like, I like to use them as a reference and make them sisters, not twins. Like, I don't want my shoes to match, my patinaed shoes, rather, to match, like, perfectly. Because I want it to look like they acquired this patina naturally. I'm gonna lift right here because it's a little too dark. And again, it's just super, super easy with this oil-based cream. It also lotions the leather a little bit. So yeah, see, no longer too dark. I'm gonna go back and sort of gently blend that in. The one thing to note then is if you do want to recondition your shoes, you are gonna have to be careful with the patina. You might have to redo it if your shoes need a big leather condition for whatever reason. They really shouldn't, as long as you store them not in a really cold or hot place. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. I might finesse that further. And then, you know, you might want to go back and make sure there's much more shrunkenness on this leather here than on the toe, so sometimes it doesn't match perfectly, but I'm going to do the whole thing and then come back to the toe to make sure it's consistent. Alright, but from here on out I'm going to speed it up because this is the same process for every panel. Except for like the lace area, but it's the same technique as the scumbling, so you'll be able to see it in fast motion. Alright, that is more or less how you patina the shoe. I tend to take a look at them like outside after I've worn them. Oh, I didn't do this. I gotta do that. But like as you wear them and see if there's an area I want to darken some more that like looks better in the sun, or just needs a little bit of zhuzhing. But yeah, that's pretty much how you patina a shoe. I'm gonna do the second one off camera because I don't want to make a super long video, but that's pretty much the gist of it. And you can be as expressive and freestyle as you want. I do like to use the shape of the shoe as my guide and kind of just blend out. But it's really a canvas and you can do whatever you want. And as long as you use thin coats, this is going to be really quite durable, unless of course you put oil on it. I'm also going to, after we do the shoe whitening, I'll show you the product I use to waterproof them, which helps also seal in the dye that we just applied. Alright, so I'm going to do this one off camera, and then, oh yes, another thing. You want to let the acrylic cure for 24 hours before you waterproof it, before you do the soles, certainly before you wear them. Acrylic feels dry right away, but it does take 24 hours to cure being dry all the way and form a new plastic surface. Alright, so then I will be back with the sole whitening procedure.